them. IUM students claim the same, and equally NUST students claim it's them. But this Honorable Julius Malema will say, without any fear of contradiction, students of the most prestigious university in the land of the bird. Good morning. You look into progress because you see all things, and now you know your mindset is that every university owes you a spot in their institution, and NASFAP owes you a study law. Now this mindset, most students carry it into the job market, and this is the first thing that gets you there. Why? Because the labor market is a market, and it operates like any other market. Do we have any foreign traders here? Right. Do we have any young entrepreneurs here? Okay, entrepreneurs. In your business market, you have buyers and sellers, right? So now, the same principles apply to forex and business are the same principles applied to the labor or job market. We have buyers, we have sellers. Now, who exactly are the buyers? These are the employers or recruiters. Who are the sellers? It's you, potential employees or job seekers. Now, what exactly is being exchanged? These are skills, competencies, qualifications, and so on and so on and so on. And that's why you find yourself coming from university, you enter the job market, you start begging for jobs. No, I come from a small village where we do not have steps at home, we only have a small well, and you stay 3, 4, 5 years, you do not get a job. Why? It's because you are presenting or positioning yourself the wrong way. Now, the first thing when it comes to job hunting is positioning. Positioning has to do with preparation. This is either through building LinkedIn profile, creating digital visibility, and then the other one now will be presentation, which is what I'm going to cover. The digital CV, which I use LinkedIn because that's a business platform. And the second one, we have the traditional CV, which is the curriculum design we are all aware of. But I believe my duty today is actually to cover the traditional curriculum design. Okay. When you're presenting yourself in terms of a CV, it needs a structure. Why? Because a structure ensures that the information you are trying to communicate to a recruiter, like your certificate, diploma, bachelor's degree, your honors, your master's PhD, and you need to list them in reverse chronological order, meaning the most or the current needs to come first, and then the previous ones follow each other in that order. After your education, you have experience. Where you list your relevant experiences. Now this is part-time job, voluntary job, if you do anything at university that is relevant. Because one thing you need to take note of is relevancy. Relevancy is very, very, very important when it comes to applying for a job. Only keep what's relevant. All these other things are useless unless you're relevant to the job. Again, your experience needs to be listed in a reverse chronological order. From there we have skills. Skills, we have two types of skills. We have the soft skills, which normally require your intellect. These are communication skills, speaking to you, stakeholder engagement, coaching, and so on. Then we have technical skills. Now these are the ones that require your employers are hiring because they have certain problems. If they are hiring a recruitment specialist because they have a recruitment problem, and they need you to solve those problems. Right. Now, when you list your experience, you say, I worked at this organization, this was my position, I was a recruitment specialist, this was the duration, say, from the 1st of January 2020 to the 30th of December 2027 or 2026. You then have a section under that, or subsection, which is duty you explain this, and then over design this, I explain that. And then the last one is applying without research. So when you're applying for a job, and this is actually even where your interview preparation begins. When you apply for a job, already understand what exactly there is on the position. Some of you see, the moment you see HR title, I will apply or I'm going to apply. You see HR title, you want to apply all over. Please, always do the research, this organization, what exactly that is doing. Because you find yourself in cases where sometimes you don't have 3 days, you don't have a week to prepare for an interview. You simply call and say, oh, well, I had a conversation with you tomorrow morning. Now you know nothing about the organization. You have to run around, try to memorize. No, their vision is this, always do your due diligence. Alright, now we've covered the first part of having to present yourself. When you master this first part and you apply for jobs, you are picked, you go to the second or final stage in securing a job. Interview preparation. Anytime I'm preparing a client or a client calls me to say, no, Adriano, I'm preparing for an interview, what can I do? The first thing is you need to understand yourself. Why? You need to know what value you bring to an organization. You need to know your key competencies, right? Or core competencies or expertise. You need to know what skills you possess that are relevant to this job or to the organization. You need to understand where you're coming from, where you are, and where you're going to. The second thing is the job you are applying for. You need to know exactly what this job entails. Then the third one, before I move, now the job. You also need to understand how exactly does this job align with your career goals, right? Could be your immediate goals, it could be your future goals. How exactly does it align with where you're heading to and where you are currently? But the third one is the organization. You need to understand the basics of the organization, what exactly does the organization do, how do they carry out certain procedures, what type of workforce do they have, because you find yourself receiving this type of questions in the interview. So you just want to exactly be aware of what they do. And also it also allows you to prepare to say, okay, this organization is doing this. Then you move to the future. Your career goals. I mentioned that you need to research the job you are applying for. Why? Because you have to then align it to where you are going to. For example, you are in a junior position, right? You then say, currently, I'm a junior recruitment officer, but I'm a junior recruitment officer, and I've accumulated this expertise, but I'm looking to move into a much senior position. Why? And then you go on and elaborate why you want to move into this senior position, which now you are. But then if you are a student, for example, you say that I'm a final year human resources management student completing a bachelor's program, NUST. And then you see that in my years of study, I've been exposed to these fundamental principles or theoretical knowledge around HR, including recruitment and selection, could be labor law fundamentals. You go, you show off there because a lot of you like showing off. Students from last big show offs. And this theoretical knowledge into an actual workspace while continuing to learn and grow. So then you can always add impact or value to say, how are you going to add value to the organization? always goes down to values, the values of when you are a student, there has to be that, you know, then if not, then, I mean, find the way. Okay, the second question is, why should we hire you? These two questions are the same. These ones are very important, you know, you need to master them right now. The front of your hand to the back of your hand. When you say, no, I know this person like the back of my hand, I think that's what you say. So you need to know these two questions, you know, master them. They need to be a part of you. Why exactly should you be hired? And I know a lot of people normally concentrate on generally hardworking, very passionate. As I say, you need to sell yourself, so you need to sell value. And especially with this question, this is now where you can look at your organization. Because I told you, there are three aspects you need to research, right? There's yourself, there's your role, and there's organization. And this part, the organization, you research, this is now where you apply it. You show them that you understand the organization, and you probably identify certain gaps, and then how you want to improve them. But it's not always about finding the